Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe,
but a multiverse.
Where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next.
Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 453. I'm your host, David Z. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
And today we're going to be doing our little mid-season review for Legends of Tomorrow.
Can I offer a quick editorial note?
Absolutely, you may.
This episode will be seen as late by a lot of the people who had better dates information than I did. I was misled by a couple of apps. That's what it basically amounted to.
And I was misled by a singular co-host.
Yeah. And
as a result,
it's a bit of a dancing frog now, because all of the information I had that I was like, no, I think this is going to be right, because they said this, and I know it says this here, but these other things say this here, so I think it's... I think I was also just being, like, way too hopeful that I was going to get to see the Constantine episode when they originally said. Meaning sooner, instead of waiting several months, and then, like, a few Supergirls, and then finally I get to see it, but, oh well. Apparently it's coming back, I think, February 11th, so... after that little short run of Supergirl.
Yeah.
And then, all of the information I had where it was like a live update or something, it's all updated now to the date that actually is real. So this is why we have a week late review for an episode that we didn't say was the mid-season finale.
Right. Ta-da!
Yay!
Which, in a way, I'm somewhat glad that this was the mid-season finale, because it was just the worst episode of Legends of Tomorrow ever.
Yeah. Can I change from a quick editorial note to a quick personal note?
Sure.
I give up.
You give up watching the show entirely?
I give up caring. This is the worst episode in the Arrowverse by a long shot. This is...
It really is.
Fucking ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Quick language advisory. Fuck Bebo and his little furry ass. That is a ridiculous premise. Like, the idea that they asked me to come along with them on this journey is absurd and humiliating, and I'm annoyed that I actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been so offended by a premise. I just... And the execution. Awful.
Yeah.
Is...
The premise is exacerbated only by the fact that he seems to actually respond to
real-time consequences.
To external stimuli is what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. But, and like, as they're throwing at him, he's going, oh! I'm like, oh God, why?
No, this was...
Why?
I know there was some... there are people that enjoy that, and there are people that are you heard a couple of responses like, well, you can tell the writers are really having some fun now. Good for them. And if you enjoyed it, I wish I did too. But this isn't... No. This is not what I wanted in any of these shows. This is just silly for silliness' sake. Like, this is silly in a way that, like, I can't believe this got past the writer's room and anyone actually thought to themselves, no, people are totally going to work with this. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then to try to climax the show with something serious after putting me through that. Come on.
Well, to be fair to the episode, all of the Youngstein Jack stuff was pretty great.
That was. And I see, that's the thing that annoys me about this. And that's why I started my little rant with the words, I give up. Because I have defended the show, especially to you. And far more aggressively and private, because, like when we start really ranting about the show, me and you kind of, I don't know, we do have, like, a very passionate like or dislike for it. But I've been willing to defend it. And I'm not doing that anymore. This is it. This is the episode. I'm not defending the show anymore. It's over. It's on its own. Where did
they get a Stein puppet?
I don't know.
I guess Gideon could have created it for...
You can fabricate clothes. I guess you can fabricate that, whatever. But
for Leo.
Like, the Stein puppet was at least funny. And I could have dealt with the Stein puppet. And I liked Youngstein and Jax. And I liked Jax being able to leave the show with some grace. It was all good. And I actually didn't know for sure that Jax was going, so it was kind of neat to, actually have something that
surprised you?
Surprised me, and was probably a good call for the show right now. All of the above.
Uh-huh.
But to put it all in there, mingled with this damn Bebo situation.
Yeah, I think my favorite / most hated thing. I don't know. It was some sort of strange, ill-conceived combination. Some horrid amalgamation of hatred and love. Was Ray inside of the creature going, Christ is the one true God, but that doesn't mean that evolution and climate change doesn't exist.
I remember, we talked about this episode last week at some point, and I remember you saying that, and I laughed with you and thought, yeah, that's funny. And it is funny. But in the moment, I was like, this is still ridiculous. Someone please kill that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and of course,
so
there's the wonderful, this would be so stupid, we can't dress up like gods and convince them to do the thing, and Damian Darhk, of course, does the very same thing. And
that's one of those where, I can run with it to some extent, but they literally say, all right, Ray suggests, well, this is easy, we just dress up like gods and go in there, and they'll worship us, it'll be fine. And then they do precisely that in the show after saying within the show, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. All right, that's fun in a meta way. I get it. But again, when you're still attaching it to this stupid premise where you think Eric the Red, I know what Eric the Red I want to say? Eric Erickson?
Oh, it was Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson.
His sister.
When you think a group of Vikings that vicious saw a furry little creature with a couple of catchphrases and decided that it was a new god, everything you do at that point has to be more straightforward. It's just I don't know. The whole thing unravels. Because to me, if you tried to make the episode serious and that was at the front of it, the whole time I'd still be sitting there with my hand raised in the back of the classroom going, no. And
well,
if you try to make the whole thing just completely silly, then it just becomes a ridiculous freaking episode, which is what we got.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed.
I don't know. Well, how do you think the season stacks up so far without Bebo, the God of War?
Oh, without Bebo, it's still kind of just been same old. I mean,
right? It
really has been just the same old show. And then the crossover was fantastic. And I thought a lot of basically everyone involved with the Wave Rider was used really well during the crossover. And it doubled their ratings. Needless to say. But I don't know how. Actually, I wish I'd gone back to see what the ratings were on this episode, but I'm betting they went straight back down. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, it's been a lot of the same. And if it had stayed that, I would still be sitting here saying, look, the show's a lot of fun. Don't worry about it. It's a lot of spectacles. Some heart in there sometimes. It's kind of funny a lot of times. I enjoy blah, 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 blah. All that doesn't count anymore when there's a Biba.
Yeah. So, Zari, we haven't really talked about her at all, as far as her being a new character on the show. What do you think of her? I'm personally a little meh.
I'm pretty mad. They haven't gotten around to really using her yet. And that's, I think, on purpose. When it's time for magic to fight magic, I think she'll get a little more play.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the Welcome to the Jungle episode with Mick and his dad.
Yeah, that had some real heart to it. That was good.
I liked the Helen Hunt episode a fair amount.
Mostly
especially
because of the ending. The Themyscira shout out? Yeah, sure.
Yes, absolutely. I even liked, Damian Darhk's Return of the Mac, that was just funny.
Yeah.
This ringtone cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Damian Darhk's ringtone, wasn't it?
I think. It's been a minute on that one.
Yeah. Phone Home was a little too much of an ET thing. It was just a little much for me.
Yeah, that was
Baby Dominator.
Yeah, that one at least had that was silly in a way where the premise was good enough that it didn't actively annoy me.
Right.
You see the difference I'm pointing out, obviously.
Yes. Freak Show cracked me up for a couple of reasons. One, because that Hugh Jackman movie, they dropped the trailer for that, I think, around the time Freak Show came out.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why are we doing this guy now?
Oh, he's showing up on Amazon packages now. I promise you, man.
And
I have unraveled Christmas gifts in my unboxed empty boxes, I guess, in my kitchen right now with The Greatest Show on Earth wallpapered on them. They're going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're doing that now.
Yep. That showed up before
But-
Justice League, too. They're putting real money in this thing.
Yeah. What cracked me up the most, though, is I had a guy who was kind of trolling me on Twitter a little bit. He kept trying to convince me that Billy Zane was the best choice for Lex Luthor. And I was just like, I don't think he's that big of a star anymore, man. I don't think he can make it in the movies.
I can't even quite remember who you're talking about. I think that probably helps your point. I'm going to look him up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he was the guest star in...
he is still, top of the list if you do Billy Zah. Yeah, him. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the guest star for that. I see.
Yeah, he was the guest star. He started The Greatest Show on Earth, whatever. I can't remember that name, but the guy, for some reason.
No, they specifically couldn't use that phrase. He started the greatest, or the best show on this planet, or whatever they were calling it in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Well,
he's good, but I don't.
He's good.
He's not a Luthor.
But I kept going like, I don't think he's got it right now, man. I don't think he's big enough. And I think I was very certain. And then he pops up on Legends of Tomorrow, and I was like, I rest my case.
Oh, yeah. Man, what else is there with Legends right now? Okay, going forward, the Dark stuff still sounds good. I still like him. He's still a lot of fun right now. His daughter's kind of boring because it's one of those I'll do anything for my daddy's love kind of relationships that just kind of bore me sometimes. Those stories.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's on me though. That's on me.
Dark's daughter was creepy enough in Arrow that they certainly seemed to be hinting at something was going to be coming down the pike with her, and then they just didn't do anything with her on Arrow at all.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a way to wrap that up.
I
if I was doing a rewatch for some reason, God knows why, I'd be like, oh yeah, they didn't wrap her up. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, they didn't.
Oh well.
Yeah.
But now they did, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, they wrapped her up. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like she's long for this season. I think she's the piece that goes missing. Just a bit.
Well, that's fine.
Oh. I got nothing to really back it up. I just don't feel like she's going to be there the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still good. Now, beyond Bebo being the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened, it also the episode had another major problem for me, where the CW did the same stupid, wretched thing they've done for a long time now, which is claim that someone will have, quote, a 2-story arc, and then show them in the last 10 seconds of an episode.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Sure.
Just, you guys have got to get fucked on this one. Mm-hmm. I did mention language advisory earlier. I was pissed about this one.
That's all right. I'll mark this one as explicit.
Yeah. You might want to.
Yeah.
Or just mute whole sections of my audio.
Who's got time for that, man?
I understand. But yeah, that's just a shitty thing to do. They got to stop doing that to us as viewers.
Yeah. I was interested to see. I was interested in what Constantine had to say. Do we know if he's actually picking up anything from his show in this episode, in his upcoming episode? Because he did say there's a little girl who's possessed, and she knows your name or whatever.
Yeah, that gave me some hope that somehow we're going to wrap up one of 5 or 6 really juicy storylines they set up for Constantine that we've never gotten to resolve any of.
Yeah.
I mean, not only like what was the great darkness that was out there, but there's little stuff like Constantine's mom, and there was something special about that relationship we just never got to see the end of. There was the Spectre. You've got a for real Jim Corrigan out there somewhere in this universe.
Yeah.
It's just glorious to think that, somewhere in this,
See,
because of the combined universes, the Spectre is out there somewhere in the Arrowverse.
And this is why I'd much rather have a Brave and the Bold anthology series than Legends of Tomorrow.
I understand.
I know you understand.
I understand. I might have just fought for Legends 2 weeks ago. I probably would have just fought you on that for, I don't know. Just because I had hope. Just because I had hope at the time.
Just for the hell of it, Jason.
Well, I wasn't so deflated. I will fight with just for the hell of it on any number of things, but
right.
I would have felt the need to defend it, and I don't right now. So right now I'm like, yes, let's do that instead. Screw Legends. Let me see the Constantine episode that I know you've already paid for and is in the bank, and you could have showed me this week if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Because he was on set 2 months ago, man. This episode is like in the can. They just Didn't
I
show
mean,
it.
at this point, I would say, let's scrap Legends and do a, full-on multi-camera sitcom style laugh track, Mad About You ripoff with Leo and the Ray.
That could work.
Helen Hunt indeed.
Yeah. Oh, one of the bright spots I should mention, since I'm being so vitriolic at the moment.
Sure.
Yeah, Snart is delightful in any incarnation.
Absolutely.
All the stuff with turning the alcohols. What do you do? Like, made all the alcohol taste like crap, basically, on the ship.
Yeah.
That was good.
I think he just made it non-alcoholic.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think that's what happened.
I thought he had drugged him for a sec, because there is like a medication. It's been a while since I heard about this, but I think there's a medication you can actually take that does change alcohol's effect on you substantially. Like you ingest alcohol, and like 10 minutes later, you're just sick to your stomach and want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Which eventually, I guess, would get to the point, if you kept doing it for whatever reason, you just out of, I guess, sheer persistence, it would eventually make the alcohol taste crappy, just from classical conditioning. But
Sure.
I don't know. I thought he just drugged him for a second there, because he had all the the therapy kind of vibe to him. I just thought he'd slipped something in his drink.
Right. Yeah.
It turns out any version of Purcell and Miller, I'll watch.
Yeah, they work. They're good.
They work. I've never seen Prison Break, but I'm pretty sure they'd be delightful there too.
Yeah. That being one of the only things that really works for me on this show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of do want to go back and watch Prison Break now.
Yeah. I don't really have time for it, so I'm not going to get optimistic, but
Me either.
I understand.
I'm waist deep in The Punisher right now.
Yeah, I just started an episode the other day, so I could go ahead and get my feet in that water for Christmas break, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I really enjoyed myself.
It's amazing so far.
Yeah.
I'm 5 deep.
Yeah.
And just
It's hard to avoid the internet right now, right? I mean, Star Wars, Punisher.
it's not that hard to avoid the internet. I'm good.
That's true.
I have pretty much just unfollowed most groups because I'm tired of seeing the Justice League fight take place, and now it's moved on to
I could use a breather on that one.
Fox versus Disney, and
I could already use a breather on that one.
yeah, so that just kind of worked out really well because now I don't want to see spoilers on Star Wars. I don't know when I'll get to see that.
I really don't. I'm going to a comedy show in Atlanta tonight, and then tomorrow I'm busy. I don't know. It's not happening this weekend, so I'm just going to have to stay internet silent till all the reaction videos stop feeding everything, stop being on every feed. Fine.
And I'm.
I've already seen something posted from. I think it was from the Justice League's official media.
Oh, okay.
That had it was Justice League audience reaction 83% or whatever it is, and then critical reaction 40%, and then it had next to it Star Wars audience reaction 50-60% or whatever it was, and then critical reaction 85%. It was just.
Oh, okay.
I think it was from Justice League's actual account, because the recap of it was you can't always trust what you read on the critics. Please go see Justice League. Okay.
The thing is, though, that critical reaction to Star Wars actually makes me feel good, because I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I'll probably like it. If the fans are pissed, I'll probably like it.
Very well. It is something interesting here. I like it. This is good.
Well, I hear a lot of hyperbole about how to blow the mythology out of the water and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm like, blow it out of the water. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Let's do something new with Star Wars. I've already given up. I've decided that I want Tarantino Star Trek just because I want something new.
Is this one of those? I'm not committing to anything, but is this one of those where we're both going to see it and go, you want to do a stinger? Let's do a stinger at the end of the episode.
It might be. But it'll also be one of those where I don't remember the name of anyone in the film except for Luke.
Yeah.
I can't remember that girl's name.
Ray.
I don't know that. Oh, okay. Well, there you. Hey, look at you.
Yeah, I think it's Ray. Raya.
I don't know the stormtrooper dude's name. I don't know his name. I don't know that.
I don't either.
Han Solo knockoff dude.
I don't either.
From Force Awakens. Yeah.
I don't either.
I don't keep up with the Star Wars too well. I watched Force Awakens. I enjoyed it, but I'm not gonna remember these people.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna be like, hey, look, that archetype is finally talking to that archetype. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're too busy doing stuff like being super disappointed with Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. And I know, we keep hitting back to how disappointed we are in Legends. And sorry, Scott of Squadcast, man. I know this is your favorite one.
I am. I'm just sorry I can't join him. I really have actually enjoyed even the campiness of the show was kind of fun. Like, I've turned it on every week and thought, it's going to be silly, but I'm going to enjoy myself, so whatever. And then this time I was just like, no, that is a ridiculous, borderline condescending premise. No, it's a bad CW. I rolled up a piece of newspaper and smacked my TV on the nose.
Before we scurry on out of this episode, I do want to point out that bringing Damian Darhk back as the villain, again, for this season, has got to be the laziest thing ever.
Well, the guy always gives a good performance. It's just that now we're doing, like, they brought him in, and he was great up front. And then by the end of, like, that season of Arrow, he'd kind of barreled into something that was weird. They lost track of what he could do and couldn't do. Mm-hmm. Like, they made him so scary that I think they didn't have a really good idea of how to really defeat him, so they ended up kind of depowering him, and then every now and then he was more powerful than you thought, and then it was weird. It just got weird and hard to keep track of. Mm-hmm. And this affected the story a little bit. And then they brought him back again and did another variation with that, like, Legion of Doom kind of thing. And
yeah,
it's solid. And again, that's fine. But, like, I feel like it's like, okay, give me one more try. I know I can make this character perfect.
Dude, like, this is a character that was mostly whole cloth. The name and vague premise of him comes from the comics. Mm-hmm. And they have wasted 3 seasons of the CW shows on Damian Darhk.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed him for Arrow, that one season. I want him dead.
Yeah. No,
and it was kind of a cool idea to bring him back for Legends with Malcolm Merlin and Thawne. That's fine.
Yeah. Kind of like this
but now I
group
really
of timeless
want him dead.
evil beings.
Yeah. Now I really want him gone. Like, this is... I never wanted to see the cat again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I like the actor. I was sad he got killed off in First Contact, Star Trek First Contact. Spoilers for a 1996 movie.
Mm-hmm. How dare you? Look, at the end of the season, or at the end of his story, wherever it lies in this season, all I know is that they've bitched and whined about how, or Sarah has, about how every day she wants to kill Darhk, but she keeps having to choose not to, and blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Just let her kill Darhk and be done with it.
Please.
It's not even...
I mean, this...
it's not even that personal. It's just that there comes a time with every character. You gotta let it go.
This is the perfect opportunity for her to kill him, because now this is like post-Laurel Damian Darhk. She can take him out.
Mm-hmm. She actually can take him out. And even if she can't, time's kind of in flux at the moment anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, they could probably rectify anything that happened. Mm-hmm. They have an entire time council that I guess Sarah's about to start dating one of the leaders of.
It appears that way.
It does appear that way. And I'm okay with that, actually. I meant to point that out. That was fine. That was just fine.
Ugh.
I'm good. Well, the two have a decent chemistry. I like them fighting together. And it it's going to open itself up to some inevitable scenes where she has to choose, which team she's really on,
sure.
Stuff like that. It'll be enough to chew on. And they're okay on screen. I like them together.
Yeah, it'll be enough to chew on. Like you chew on like a piece of meat that's been done. Right. Right. You just can't. I'm so tired of all of this.
I understand.
Because, like, we're sitting here, exactly where it's going. You're like, oh, yeah, there'll be the inevitable thing where she has to choose. Yeah, I don't want that, though. I don't want the inevitable thing. I want something new.
Yeah. And the whole time I've defended the show to you and saying, like, you're not going to get something new, man. This is just going to be, like, a funny show that's kind of campy. That's all you're going to get. You need to redo your expectations so you can actually enjoy the show.
No.
It's an argument that we have on occasion with basically anything. Like, I
Sure.
usually have the philosophy that the show is what it purports to be. Judge it by that merit, and if you like it,
Right.
you like it. You don't. And then you kind of have
Yeah,
the philosophy
and I don't.
of like, yeah, I know, but your philosophy seems to edge more like, okay, this is what the show is, and this is what its best self is, and I'm judging it by the differential.
Uh-huh.
And I get it. I just kind of
Maybe.
like, for me, that's like, I can't enjoy anything if I do it that way. If I'm always thinking about, this is the best thing this is the best possible version of this thing, I could never enjoy anything. I have to like sit there and put my expectations in a certain parameter range, and then I can enjoy it.
It just, I understand they have, I'm not trying to go like, well, like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, the Arrowverse, blah, blah, blah. Look at Netflix. Netflix is so much better. Bullshit. Look at Iron Fist. But
it's not that bad.
You and I are never going to agree on that, sir.
I mean, it's bad. It's just not like burn the house down bad like people were saying.
I would watch any season of Legends of Tomorrow before Iron Fist again. I would rewatch.
That is also true for me, but that's just because I would laugh a lot more. And there's nothing in rewatching Iron Fist that I could gain from it. Whereas, like, there'd be a few jokes I could relive if I watched Legends.
I mean, I don't want to overstate my hatred for Legends. Don't get me wrong. Snart and Mick make this show for me.
And that era,
and even without Snart,
to an end.
Mick still makes it. Yeah, I hope Mick doesn't leave.
Me too. There haven't been any real indications that he is. But all this to say, them moving their time slot in such a weird way and then like shoving the episodes out in the way they're going to do doesn't look good for Legends or Supergirl right now.
No, it doesn't.
I've never seen anything like what I'm seeing on this occasion. Just in all my TV watching history, I've never seen him try it like this. And
I've seen something similar. It's called News Radio.
Yeah. Well, I've seen. That's the only thing is that it's like a. I don't want to call it a death rattle. It's not as bad as like moving it to Friday night, but
I don't want to call it a death rattle.
But that's the first thing I thought of when I read that schedule. Was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Well, for me, it's really good
because it'll get it off your plate.
Maybe.
That is, here's the set of expectations you should have. I'm just going to give you some of my personal advice that you're not asking for.
Okay.
I think you should go into the second half of the season thinking, hopefully they wrap something up for Constantine for me where I get at least one of those storylines wrapped up. And that's a win.
That's always my hope for whenever I hear Matt Ryan's coming back.
Right. Because I loved him on Constantine, but I loved him on Arrow, but it had nothing to do with his story. So maybe this was a good opportunity to bring him back, actually take on one of his problems, and maybe get some resolution on that. Like, I think the highest expectation you should have is maybe Constantine gets a little bit of resolution, and I get a few laughs before it's all over, and then end of the season, I think they're probably just going to put it to bed.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I really don't. It's still a big connected part of the universe, but they have so many other things happening right now that it's just... You wonder how long a show that's averaging, 1.3 million? Mm-hmm. Averaging like a 0.6, I think.
Yeah.
You wonder how long even on the CW that can last.
Mm-hmm. They basically spend like $1 per viewer producing each episode.
That's a good point. I don't think they like that return.
No.
Oh. Yeah, man, I think I'm through griping about this episode.
Yeah.
I hope I left something hopeful in there somewhere, but I'm just super mad at him right now.
I try to judge the show for what it is and enjoy it for what it is, but, when I see such laziness and just without even trying, I go, they could have done this and it would have been better. Literally anything they did could have been better than what they're churning out. It's frustrating. It is. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the people who love the show and didn't want to hear me crap on it. But it's patently bad well, the vast majority of the time. I enjoy pieces of it.
See, I still disagree with that. It's not patently bad. It's just not at all the show that you would have made. And I get it. It's not the show I would have made either. But for what it's trying to do, for the most part, it does it fine. It's just, this was asking too much of me.
Mm-hmm.
This was outside of my expected parameters.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're going to take off on this one, and we'll be back with a review of Lucifer, The Sin Bin, and the episodes that came before it. So you can find us
we will eventually get to review that Constantine episode in a couple months.
Yeah. So, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook, DC On Screen, DCOnScreen.com for every episode. And you can, something. Oh, yeah, we're on TV Time.
Yeah.
We're partnered up with TV Time. So select episodes of DC On Screen can be found on the TV Time app, which is an amazing little app. It's not so little anymore. Little boy's growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great little app where you can chart out your television course, keep track of what you're watching, and talk to people. And as I understand it, there are more features coming soon. You can already make memes and stuff. It's really cool.
Very immersive
All
little
right,
experience, and the big thing it does for me is keep track of what the hell episode I watched last.
Yeah.
Good in these days
So
of streaming where you're going to face like 2 minutes of commercials before you get to the episode, and then go, oh yeah, I saw that one. And then go do that again, and then again, and then you go, oh, finally I've watched commercials relevant to what I was trying to view.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you in a little bit.
Bye.
If you're not up for the Lucifer review,
No one blames you.
we'll be. No one blames you, and we'll be doing a news episode probably on Monday. So until then, keep some DC on your screen.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52 Week 4. It was performed by me, David Z. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band Future Elevators can be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Eli Ophelders of Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud and can be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We're a proud member of the Giant Size Team Up Network, GiantSizeTeamUp.com. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy and improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.